Hey everybody, this is our second map video. We're still looking at some reports. This time I'm going to take you straight to the growth reports options, and you can watch that first video, the map achievement and projected growth video, to see how to get here if you're not sure how to get there, right? So once you're here and you're looking at all the various reports that you have access to, we're going to look at two reports in this video. The first one is here. It's the class report. And the next one is the learning continuum. And so these really kind of are good examples of diving down a little bit deeper into that data. So I do have, let's see, this is a sample class report. It is a sample. They're not real students. But if you run that report, you're essentially going to see something that looks like this, right? And so on the very first page, it tells you your number of students, tells you your average RIT, or your average score, tells you your median RIT, of course, that middle number if all the scores were lined up, and then the standard deviation. Now, the greater the standard deviation, that just the greater difference or variability in scores that you had. So if you look here, the district grade level mean RIT is 201, and students at or above the district average, we have 6 above the district. But the norm grade level RIT is 205.7. So that's kind of what I look at when I look at like on level. That's based on more of a national picture, a bigger picture than just our district. So you can compare to the district, or you can compare to the national, the kids who took the test when it was normed. And I will show you one other thing, and you can just Google this, NWEA map norms. I can also send it out to you if you request it, right? And so if you scroll here, this is, 2020. So this is actually updated. So that's cool. So the 2020 reading norms and 2020 math norms. So if you teach, let's say, 5th grade, then 204.48, right, would be that average range for the start of the year. So if you have a bunch of kids scoring 205 and higher, you have kids who are in that average score or above, right? If you have kids who are scoring, 195, then those are kids who you need to look at some interventions for, because they're not on that grade level standard, right? So it tells you kind of where they should be at the start of the year, where they should be in the winter, and then what you hope they will be, where they will be or above that level at the end of the year. And then there's some tests that we don't necessarily give in our district, but you can also look at the growth norms. So same 5th grader, like an average growth would be 4.6, 4.64, right? So hoping that they grow that much. And then winter, 1.86, and fall to spring, then so the full year for, let's say, 5th grade reading, 6.5. So that's just the average, just something worth knowing. The achievement norms is what I look at the most, okay? So you've got this data. You can come down here and you can see your overall scores, right? Median was 201. That's what we saw up here. Here you have the sampling error, right? So that's just kind of the, if you look at how the group would do, it's within that plus minus kind of margin of error. So they could have done 198 to 204. Most of the time they'd be in that same range. Some kids did a little bit better, be a little higher. A couple kids did a little bit worse, same difference, right? But where you can really look at it then here is based on your group, students who are in that under 21%, so 1 to 20 percentile. You have 2 kids, that's 18% of your group, and you can look at it. Then you have the low average, you have that average range, which is 41 to 60, and then so on and so forth, right? But where it gets a little more interesting here is that you can look at, that's your reading score, but then you can look at literature, you can look at informational text, and you can look at vocabulary acquisition and use. And so same data in both places, you have your median RIT. So, looking here, it looks like on the whole they did maybe a little bit better on the, I think those are flipped, but anyway, on the literature portion, right? And then you can also see over here, well, in the low or low average range, you have more kids in that range in informational text and vocabulary. You scroll down to the next page. This is very similar to what we looked at in the first video. Except it doesn't have all the projected growth and all that kind of stuff. It just has student name, student score, percentile. So Dayton here scored 181. which puts him in the 5th percentile. So some really intensive interventions needed there. But then if you look over here, you can see how long the student took on the test. So Dayton took his time. If this said 13 minutes and it's a reading test and you're thinking, hey, that's 40 questions, plus you have to read the passages, and you took 15, 20 minutes, you didn't spend a lot of time on the test. And so that can be a factor. And then over here, you have A, B, and C. A is literature, B is informational text, C is vocabulary. And so for Dayton, what is in bold is an area of his relative strength. Now, it doesn't mean that he's scoring on level or anything like that, but he scored in a higher range on the vocabulary questions than he did on the other two portions. Now, the one that is, we know that because it's in bold. The one that is in italics is his area of relative weakness, or somewhere to focus on. So for him, that would be literature. He scored the lowest in literature, and you can see that range. All right, so what do I do with this? Well, this gives you the big picture, and then you can go back into your reports, scroll down. Did I already pass it? I did. Scroll down to Learning Continuum. Now, this one's a little different because I won't have the full functionality, but when you click open your Learning Continuum, you're going to see literature, and then you're going to see it broken down into all the little topics that would fall under literature. And then, now this is just a sample, but on the actual page, I could keep scrolling and scrolling, and it would have then informational text in all of the subcategories, and it would have vocabulary acquisition and use in all of those subcategories. So this is where you can really nail it down, what each kid is ready for. So looking back, again, this is a sample. These are not real students, right? But if I'm looking under literature, and this is the 2 through 5 reading test, literature, this subcategory is key ideas and details. Well, a student who scored, Dugas, D.N. Dugas, scored overall a 181. But for the ideas and key details and ideas, for those particular questions, he's in this 171 to 180 range. So what that tells you is, he didn't do well overall, but he did a little bit worse on questions that had to do with setting. And so this portion here, this is a learning objective that student is ready for. He is ready for this. It doesn't mean he knows this. It means he's ready for it. So we might work with Mr. or Mrs. Or Ms. Dugas here. We might work on drawing conclusion about a setting based on description and identifying the setting. Like just being able to identify what is the setting of the story, right? And so, and then also drawing conclusions. So being able to figure out what the setting is based on context clues, maybe. Okay, and so you can actually look at that for that one student. Now, if we scroll down and look at this student, DiMolanta, KS DiMolanta, I'm going to say, he or she scored a 220. But for setting, they were in this range of 221 to 230. So for that particular subcategory, that student actually did a little bit better than even their overall score, right? And so as we look at what this student is ready for, you'll notice identifies setting is not present because this student can already do that. So what this particular student is ready for, he or she scored higher under setting. So if you're working on setting, some of the students down in this range still need to be able to identify what the setting of the story is. And this is literature, right? So if you look at this student here, he or she, it says analyzes how setting affects the characters, analyzes how setting contributes to the plot. So we're probably talking about mood and tone, right? Compares and contrasts setting across different literary works, different stories, draws conclusions about a setting based on a description, and identifies details that reveal aspects of a setting. So that goes beyond just saying, hey, I need to figure out what the setting is. This is diving deeper. So this student is ready for more than that previous student. Okay, now here, this is a 4th grade homeroom math. This is a different way of looking at it. Same information, different way of looking at it, right? So whereas up here, actually, let me scroll down a little bit. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. So you can go into the display options and you can actually look at the different writ bands. And so this is, let's see here. I think this is maybe still 4th grade, but anyway, math 2nd through 5 tests. So under measurement and data, again, you'll just see a bunch of these headings. You won't see this information, but when you click those drop-down menus, that's when this will all show up. So you can then actually look at, okay, students who scored in this RIT band, even more detail about what they need, right? So this one is time. So a student who scored in 161 to 170, that's more of a primary grade type score. If you have upper grades who are scoring in that range, that's a student needing to be able to read an analog clock to the nearest half an hour or the nearest hour. And so it just tells you what they're ready for. And you can see as you progress through the different bands, the RIT bands, it adds more information, because then once they're ready for this, but now they're also ready for a little bit more. Okay, and eventually as you get higher, I can't click on this because it's a sample, but you see where my arrow, my cursor is. You click on that arrow, and as they get higher, the skills advance and things will start to drop off, because a student who's scoring in probably the let's say 191 to 200 or 201 to 210 RIT band for time, they're not going to be needing to read a clock to the nearest half an hour, right? They'll have already done that. Okay, one more thing I'll show you that's really brief. Another way to kind of figure out how to group students and look at that same data in a different way. I'm back here on my reports queue, and I'm going to go down to class breakdown by RIT, goal, or projected proficiency. Now I've already opened the sample. So as you look here, and you can print a PDF, but as you have math, of course they take. These are all the tests they take, right? But you have the different bands, right? So for math, these students here are going to be in that same band, right? And you can go up here and you can change it. So this one is by RIT, right? So these are the RIT bands. So then I can see kind of which groups of students are around the same score. It doesn't necessarily break it down to each particular standard, but I can see which students are around the same score, which can help me start to think about grouping. Okay, now it won't be on another page, but if you click RIT here and then you go down to goal, and they have it here as reading, then you can see that it's broken down even more. So for example, these the students you see here, you'll also see here and here. So it's 3 different sections of the test: literature, informational text, and vocabulary. So for example, Dugas here was in a lower RIT, and actually is either under 171 or equal to, so probably scored 170, 171 or less, right? Could have been lower. Their overall score was 181, but for literature they were much lower. So that's an area of weakness for that student, and you can see there's no one in that band, there's no one in the next band, and for literature there's no one in that band. So the next highest group, this is a very high achieving sample group, by the way, they won't all look like this, but the next highest group is farther ahead. So this is a student who probably already had, depending on the grade, possibly has some interventions already in place, possibly has been through SIT, possibly has an IEP, possibly had, there's a lot of possibilities that you would know about the student that you won't glean from this. But this is certainly should raise some flags that, hey, I've got a student who is having a very different performance than their grade level peers, right? Especially in literature. And so you can see then here for informational text, Dugas was here in literature, a little bit higher in informational text, and then actually even a little bit higher in vocabulary. So that student Dugas performs more, not necessarily on level, but is kind of more in the, when you're working on vocabulary, Dugas may be able to work with a bigger group and work on more of what that group has already been focusing on, and it's maybe not it may be on level, but it may be something that you have tiered or put some scaffolding in place. And then you can also click to projected proficiency. I don't use this often, but you have partially proficient, proficient, and advanced. I think you're going to get the most out of seeing this, and that's not necessarily how you're going to group your students based on this, but it's a great way to start thinking about student needs and where they are. And of course, you can look at the same thing with math too. So I'm about out of time. I hope that was helpful, and I'll put out another couple of videos here so you can break down more of the MAP tests. All right, thanks.